death row.
Here we go again. And look how the video looks.
Those condemned to be executed
Take this, flip it that way, then press record. Holy shit, folks, it's not rocket science.
Just like what I said in the last video, this video is a compilation of YT shorts. I'm still not going to add or remove a scene.
So pretty much
death row meals. Are you going to go out again and buy every fucking meal and eat on camera? Just an excuse to eat on camera.
I would normally just say, can you justify this claim? But instead, I'm going to explain this a little more. You may have a good point here, but it's impossible to tell because you don't elaborate. You vaguely say Josh is making an excuse here to eat on camera and don't explain how.
See, I'm already getting pissed off just looking at the faces and going, that goes for any fucking person to eat on camera. It's gross.
Too obese to be executed. Richard, in 1986, Cooley and two of his friends were throwing chunks of concrete off a bridge until one eventually connected with the passing vehicle of two local university students. Upon impacting their
so you're paying tribute by eating the meal they had?
But before long,
kind of fucked up, man.
No, that's not the point of this video. Josh eating the final meals is not a tribute.
Girls and proceeded to torture, stab,
that's messed up.
For 3.5
I sure wouldn't be eating their meals just to show on camera.
Richard Cooley was sentenced to death by lethal injection. And although his lawyers argued he was too obese to be executed,
it's just an excuse to eat on camera. It is what it is, folks. Look at all that. Look at all that.
See sin number 1.
Onion rings, French fries, 4 fried eggs, buttered toast, hash browns, a bucket
How
of
can you take something like death row to make an excuse to eat food on camera? How does that work?
In my opinion,
See sin number 1. Again.
This spread had lots of the best elements from the other meals and more. For that, I'm placing this.
How are you not fat? I mean heavy set. Sorry YouTube, I didn't mean to say the word fat, okay? I wasn't fat shaming nobody.
In 1992, Moore shot and killed his mother and
Flipping off the camera.
It's hard to pay attention to what you're talking about, I have to watch this food shit.
But it's easy for me to pay attention to it, so...
For his final meal, Moore requested 2 green apples, 2 red apples, a tray of fresh fruit, and 2 2-liter bottles of Coca-Cola.
2 liter? Oh, that's bad on you up there.
Slept-on pick when it comes to last meals, but this was a little bit overboard.
Just the facial expressions of people eating on camera, it just irritates the shit out of me.
I would normally ignore this, but here I will add a sin just once because Billy has to remind us multiple times in this video when we already know.
Peace Prize nominee Stanley Tookie Williams.
That's a giant afro.
Williams rose to prominence when he founded LA's first major African-American street gang known
barefoot again,
but after
wearing
8
weird
years
looking
of growing
sandals.
this organization, he was arrested for 4 separate murders and sentenced to death by lethal injection. However, during the 25 years between his sentencing and execution, Williams submitted multiple appeals, authored 9 children's books, and set forth on a campaign to educate the youth about the dangers of gang life. And while this advocacy even led Williams to eventually be nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger opted not to
Arnold, he's in here.
So for his final meal,
he should just stick to movies only.
Final meal request
should never become governor.
The standard fare of a bowl of oatmeal and some milk. In my opinion,
and some
the meal
jizz.
Definitely wasn't anything special. But
why are you looking around?
Of my personal safety.
Maybe it's because Josh doesn't want to directly look at the camera the whole time, as that would be awkward. Also, he did not turn his whole head. You over-exaggerated that.
I'm placing this meal in B.
Just eat.
Today,
he is eating. What's the problem here?
Gerald Lee Mitchell. On June 4th, 1985, Mitchell and a friend approached the car of Charles Marino and Kenneth Fleming and offered
you
to
must have a lot of money just be going out and buying every meal that killers ate before their death.
To a dead end, pulled out a shotgun, and demanded their car keys. Reluctantly, the pair complied, and Mitchell led them to a vacant house and forced them to sit on the floor. Once they were seated, Mitchell told his accompanying friend to go grab some rope.
When
Jolly
Ranchers.
So, he fled the scene and did not return. So when justice
bad on your teeth,
Mitchell said, "Raise your hands, white boy. You don't want to die with your hands down," and proceeded to
you
shoot both
okay
boys with the shotgun, killing one and wounding the other. For these crimes, Mitchell was sentenced to death by lethal injection. For his final meal, Mitchell requested 1 bag of assorted Jolly Ranchers. In my opinion, Jolly Ranchers are okay, but this spread was definitely lacking in variety, quantity, and overall quality. So, I'm placing this meal in D.
Should have just done a normal tier video.
At the selection of Joseph
you don't have to buy the food they ate.
On the night of August 30th, 1987, Parsons was picked up as a hitchhiker by 30-year-old 30-year-old Richard Ernest. But later that evening, when Ernest stopped at a rest area to get some sleep, Parsons stabbed him to death, stole his car, and ended up getting arrested later that same day. However, in court, Parsons claimed that he had to kill Ernest to fend off a homosexual advance. But the prosecution ended up providing witness
How do you expect us to focus on what you're saying when you keep showing this other shit?
Season number 9.
For his final meal, Parsons requested 3 Burger King Whoppers, 2 orders of French fries, chocolate chip ice cream, a chocolate shake, and a pack of grape Hubba Bubba bubblegum. He also asked if he could share this meal with his brother and cousin, and this request was granted.
Oh, he shared
In my opinion, this meal was pretty.
And you got it all to yourself.
Being able to share your final moments with loved ones
this
is
guy
invaluable.
should have been.
So I'm placing this meal in S tier. Today, we're taking a look at the
Unless he walks every single day.
Lamont Lawton. On Christmas
and
Eve of
exercise,
1992,
still
Lawton
get eating that every day.
friends were conducting a spree of car robberies. But eventually they came across the house of 47-year-old Dennis.
God, this is cringe!
Billy calls something cringe cliche.
For his final meal, Lawton requested a cheeseburger, a side of fries, and an entire jar of dill pickles.
An entire jar?
I love every aspect of this meal, but there's nothing really special about
this. I gotta calm down when I see people making those happy faces while they eating shit.
Today, we're taking a look at the selection of the damsel of
maniacal laughter.
On her final day, Bornos declined her right to a final meal and instead opted for a single cup of black coffee.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Coffee as a beverage is great, but coffee as the entirety of your final meal request is not. I'm placing this meal in D tier. Today, we're taking a look at the selection of the Gainesville Ripper,
I wouldn't be doing what he's doing, eating their meals before their death.
Rawling broke into the apartment of 2 sleeping university students, and once inside, he killed each girl one by one by keeping their mouths shut to muffle their screams and stabbing them to death. Then,
they don't deserve a first meal. People do that shit, or a final meal. They should be killed on the spot, actually. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Give them a chance. They can, no. Say that to the fucking families of the victims.
Saying that the criminals should be killed on the spot implies that they are killed the second the police catches them. This is a problem because the criminals could be killed in public if they are captured in public.
You're not allowed to speak the truth. You always gotta watch, walk on eggshells on YouTube. They're always watching me.
But I've seen videos on YT that do tell the truth, so...
In my opinion, this spread was solid.
And you ate it.
All the others on this list, it didn't stand out. I'm placing this meal in
You're making them more relevant and famous by eating their final meal.
Yeah. So?
Charles Peace. When Peace was just 14 years old, his father died and he became permanently crippled in a factory accident. So, to support himself, he turned to crimes like petty theft and burglary. But this would all change one night when Peace was spotted by a police officer while robbing a house and shot him on sight. And Peace managed to flee the scene undetected. And this would only
Why is people not recording the right way anymore? What happened?
People do still record the right way. You just don't see them.
For his final meal, Peace requested a plate of eggs and a large amount of salty bacon. And while he also asked if he could have it,
but it don't matter though.
This request was denied. In my opinion, bacon and
water
eggs are
was denied. What?
Classic. But as a final meal ever, it leaves a lot to be desired. I'm placing this meal in C tier. Today, we're taking a look at the selection of the Garden
I bet there's a part 3 to this. Because if there is, he's doing more. He just likes to eat on camera.
On a series of murders where he poses as a tourist
any excuse to eat on camera. Let's just change it up a little bit.
Season number 1. Again.
Then, after checking
no, I still don't like people eating on camera. I don't give a fuck if you add something to it or not.
To immobilize them and bashed in their skulls.
Damn.
And to make sure he wouldn't get caught,
that's messed up too.
His victims in the hotel bathroom and then hid the bodies. However,
if he's doing that, then why give him a final meal?
In 8 days, Scripps was finally captured.
I was about to say something else.
Changi Airport in Singapore, and his name
I have no sympathy for people that treat their victims like that. Innocent people kill them.
Yeah, you know what? Me neither.
For his final meal, Scripps had the simple request of pizza and hot chocolate. In my opinion, this spread had a couple of great items.
And here you are eating,
like,
you're saluting or something.
What?
But I'm placing this meal in B tier. Today, you're taking a look at the man known as the Terror of Falkenhagen Lake, Friedrich Schumann. In the early 20th century, Schumann was conscripted to serve in the German army during the First World War. And over the course of his service, he was regarded as an excellent marksman and even went on to earn the second-class Iron Cross. However, upon his return to civilian life, Schumann struggled to adjust, and consequently, he embarked on a series of crimes. Over the course of just 3 years, Schumann committed 5 arsons, 6 murders, and
just start a fucking cooking show. You ain't gotta add death row guys to make it whatever the fuck.
Even if Josh did, you would still hate it either way.
For his
Damn,
final
man,
meal, Schumann requested the classic
up deal.
German dishes of frikadellen and Teltu turnips. In my opinion,
that's a weird
as an
name.
everyday meal, this spread would be great. But as a final meal ever, it leaves a bit to be desired. I'm placing
gotta
this
calm
meal
down.
in C tier. Today, we are taking a look at the
You don't want me to get
selection
mad,
of
don't send me
John
eating videos.
William Elliot. On the evening of June 13th, 1986, Elliot and two friends were hanging out in a driveway when they noticed 18-year-old mother Joyce Munguia waiting alone at a nearby bus stop. So, the trio invited her to join them, and after she complied, the group shared some drugs and alcohol. Then, after a few hours, Munguia had become heavily intoxicated, so she asked the men to help her get home. However, rather than bringing her back to her house, the three carried her under a bridge and sexually violated her. And once complete, Elliot beat her to death with the motorcycle chain.
I'm not allowed to say what I wish would actually happen to him. That's cyberbullying to a killer. That's how YouTube would see it.
Well, he did get the death penalty. Was that not enough for you?
In my opinion, fresh baked chocolate chip cookies are pretty tough to beat, but even still, the spread needs some more variety. I'm placing this meal in C tier. Today, we are taking a look at the selection
God,
of Walter
fucking him, man. Shit.
Billy complains about the length of the video cliche.
On the morning of January 7th, 1982, Walter and his brother entered a bank armed with a toy gun and demanded the branch manager to open up the vault. However, because he only possessed half of the code necessary to do so, the brothers mercilessly beat him and another employee and then stabbed him 24 times to his death with a letter opener.
They knew what they were doing.
These crimes, Legrand was sentenced to death by asphyxiation gas.
They must think they could just get away with that.
Legrand requested 6 fried eggs, 16 strips of bacon, a large portion of hash browns, a pint of pineapple sherbet ice cream, a well-done breakfast steak, a cup of ice with one each of Coke, 7-Up, and Dr. Pepper.
There's a lot of Coke involved in these videos.
Sugars, and 4 tablets of Rolaids. In my opinion,
what's
I'm
the
already
Rolaids
a
gonna
big
do?
breakfast guy. So
Especially when you're about to die.
I decided to look this up, and all I could find was this AI answer. The AI claims it's because it was a symbolic act of defiance against the death penalty, and Legrand found his execution to be meaningless.
I'm placing this meal in 8. Today, we are taking a look at the selection of the former Japanese Prime Minister and convicted war criminal, Hideki Tojo. Over the course of World War II, Tojo led the Japanese military in carrying out some of the most brutal atrocities in modern history. Authorizing weapons experimentation on prisoners of war, presiding...
I thought you were grossed out by the case, not the fish. Therefore, I'm adding 5 sins for this slight overreaction.
Over the Nanking Massacre, Tojo's leadership can be linked to the deaths of many millions of prisoners of war and civilians. But eventually, after Japan's unconditional surrender from the Second World War, Tojo was
I'm trying to pay attention.
And even though he shot himself in his chest to avoid being detained, he was resuscitated, brought to the Tokyo War Crimes Tribunal, and sentenced to death by hanging. For his final meal,
I don't know what's worse, hanging or...
the traditional Japanese spread,
I don't know, I guess hanging is
fish,
probably pretty
rice,
bad.
and miso soup. In my opinion, every part of this meal was simple and tasty, but personally, I would have preferred something a little bit more exciting.
Buy a fucking camcorder and set it on a tripod.
Today, we are taking a look at the
it's not that
of the
fucking
traveling
hard.
watchmaker known as
If you can't
Uncle
set your
Tintin,
phone this way,
shit. In the year 1908, young boys all
I'm not gonna
around
let this
Germany
shit go. I've
began to
noticed a lot more
mysteriously
videos
pass
that turn
away
out
in
like
their
this,
sleep.
and
when
it's
the body
pissing
of
me
each
off.
boy was discovered, there was never any
You
sign
shoving
of
that shit up its
external violence,
ass.
but
I do agree this is pretty gross, so I won't add any sins for overreacting.
eventually, in the year 1935, when 10-year-old Heinz Zimmerman faced the same
why'd you have to
fate
show
as all
that?
the boys before him, it was finally found that the man responsible for all these deaths was Adolf Seefeld. Through the use of what experts suspect to have been a natural poison, Seefeld claimed the lives of at least 12 boys over 27 years. And as a result of all of these crimes, the Nazi court sentenced Seefeld to death by decapitation. For his final meal, Seefeld
Never
made
heard
the
that
simple
deal.
request of
There's not
one
many like
roasted
that.
chicken. In my opinion, chicken is great, but compared to all of the other spreads on
making
this
those
list,
faces
this
like those
doesn't
other
really stack up.
mukbangers
I'm
do. That
placing
really
this meal
infuriates
in D
me.
tier.
Billy sees someone eating on camera and compares them to Nikocado cliche. Also, blatant ad hominem.
Today, we are taking a look at the selection of the freeway strangler, William Bond.
Over-exaggeration.
In the year 1979, Bonin stalked the highways of Southern California and would lure teenage boys into his van. However, once inside, Bonin would bind the boys by their wrists and ankles, sexually assault them, and then brutally take their lives. But eventually the police caught on to this act, and one day they
I think the cop should have did something right there on the spot to that person, but, you know, you're not allowed to say anything.
I know you didn't say killed on the spot, but see sin number 71. as I know you want that to happen.
Over his year at large, Bonin killed anywhere between
evil
14
keeps
and
living
44
on, folks,
and for
while
these
the good
crimes,
people
he was
suffer.
sentenced
Where did you get this logic from?
to death by lethal injection. For his final meal, Bonin
He got off
requested
too easy.
2
I don't really see how, considering he was executed. You should explain why you think he got off easy.
sausage and pepperoni pizzas, 3 pints of coffee ice cream, and 3 6-packs of Coca-Cola.
And he actually drunk all
opinion,
that.
I'm a fan of
And
all the items in this
you're gonna
meal,
eat
but
and drink all
personally, I
that.
would have preferred a little bit more variety. I'm placing this meal in A tier.
I hope you
Today,
gained 20,000
we're taking a look
pounds,
at the
man.
selection of
Okay, I don't think I need to explain why this point is hypocritical for the 3rd time, so I'm going to add 50 cents and move on.
Joe Arity. On the night of August 14,
Just do a
1936,
mukbang
an
if you
intruder
want to
broke
so
into a
bad.
Colorado
Oh, fuck.
family home,
But you would still hate it anyway, so...
murdered one of the daughters, and escaped undetected. For this crime, a man named Frank Aguilar was found guilty and sentenced to death. However, the police decided to also bring in the 46
Why is this
IQ
video
Joe
still
Arity for
going?
question.
Billy complains about the length of the...
Here, the officers easily manipulated Arity into wrongfully admitting guilt, and thus he was
How many
sentenced to
days
death
did
by
you do this
asphyxiation
on?
gas as well. While on death row, Arity would happily sit and play
This had to
with
been
his
every
toy
day.
train and showed no understanding of his impending execution. So much so that after eating his requested final meals of ice cream for
Are you one of those
breakfast,
people
lunch,
that can eat a
dinner, he
bunch
asked
and never
if they could
gain weight?
refrigerate his leftovers for later. In my opinion, ice cream's an excellent part of a final meal, but alone, it leaves a bit
Ice
to
cream
be desired.
fucks up
I'm
my
placing
teeth.
this
Like,
meal in D.
oh no, I got sensitive
Today,
teeth.
Okay, I had to talk about Billy not paying attention to that case, as it's the most heartbreaking. I'm going to read this comment from Big Macintosh 1766 from the original video. You talked over the guy talking about the Joe Arity sentence. He was a mentally disabled man with an IQ of 46 who was manipulated by the cops to admit a crime he did not commit. But Joe had no idea what was happening to him. The other inmates loved him, and he even showed them his toy trains. And he requested ice cream for his last meal, then asking it to be refrigerated. Once again, this is very heartbreaking, and the fact that Billy was talking over the video is worth 50 cents overall.
we are taking a look at the selection
What
of
the
Kenneth
fuck?
Wayne Morris. On the early morning
I forgot
hours
this is a
of May
20-something
1st,
minute video.
1990,
Billy complains about the
Morris and 2 accomplices kicked in the door of the Adams family's home. Here,
The
after
Addams
being awoken
family?
by the sound of this intrusion,
Wow.
63-year-old James Adams went to see what was going on. But when he did so, the 3 men confronted him at gunpoint and demanded he give them all the money he had. But even when he complied and emptied his wallet for the 3 men, they decided to shoot him 4 times anyway. This
Wow.
would cause Adams to collapse into his closet.
This is
and
why
die
you
at
don't
the
open the
feet
door
of
for
his
anybody.
hiding wife.
except for your relatives.
As a result of this crime, Morris was sentenced to death by lethal injection. For his final meal, Morris requested fried chicken, fried okra, a cake, and lemonade.
He
In
laughed
the
all the way to
Morris
his
was
death.
executed on his 38th birthday. In my
Wow.
opinion, these probably aren't the dishes I would have selected, but overall,
Every time
the
else
meal
he starts
wasn't too
eating,
bad.
that
I'm placing
violin
this meal
plays
in B.
just to piss me
Today,
off.
we are taking
Billy is getting pissed off over a violin in a YT video. I wish I was making this up. Also, you do not play the violin like that.
H.H. Holmes. In the year
Yeah,
1887,
I remember,
Holmes
I think.
commissioned a massive mixed-use building in Chicago which went on to be known as the Castle. Inside, the building was equipped with trapdoors, secret passageways, and staircases that led to nowhere. Additionally, his basement contained a crematorium, dissection table, pits of quicklime,
You know, you're
and
putting too many
various
images on the
torture
screen while
devices.
showing you
Holmes
making
would lure
food.
people here
What do you
under
want us to pay
false
attention
pretenses
to?
of
Which one?
employment, lodging, or relationships, and killed anywhere between
Oh, that's how
20
the
and
basics
200
age.
total
And
victims. And as a
onions?
result of
Billy, that's clearly ice.
these crimes, Holmes was sentenced to death by hanging, which went wrong and left him strangling from the rope for over 15 minutes. For his final meal, Holmes
And you just
requested
let-
boiled eggs,
If it wasn't supposed to happen,
and
I don't know. I don't give
in
a
my
fuck.
opinion, basically every aspect of this meal was below average. So I'm
I
placing
bet you
this
that's,
meal in C tier.
What's his name playing the
Today,
violin in the
we're taking a
background?
Look at the selection
It's your
of the
fault,
DC
guy.
sniper,
I'm not gonna say his
John
name.
Allen.
So you're pissed off about the violin in this video because someone you don't like also plays it? Okay then.
Muhammad. On October the 2nd, 2002, Muhammad and his 17-year-old accomplice began a 3-week killing spree across the DC
I do
area
remember
that
this one.
resulted in 10 deaths and 3 critical injuries.
The sniper
in each
shit.
case, the pair used a holographic-sighted rifle to fire a single shot through an improvised
Yeah, I
fire
think I
port
remember
built into
watching
the
a lot of
trunk their car and
actual
then fled
time
the
news
scene
clips.
immediately shortly after. And
was
while
always
being
on
hunted
live
down by the
TV.
authorities, the duo taunted them through leaving behind tarot cards and written demand notes.
I forgot about
police
that
to
part
find.
though, about the
But
cards.
when they got caught sleeping at a rest stop, both men were captured and Muhammad was sentenced to death by lethal injection.
But the son
For
lived.
his final meal, Muhammad requested fried chicken with red sauce and some strawberry cakes. In my opinion, the items chosen were solid, but personally, I would have appreciated a few more dishes. I'm placing this meal in B tier. Today,
I can't believe you're ranking serial killers with this, with food and shit.
In the year 1931, 18-year-old Crowley went on a killing spree that would lead up to one of the largest showdowns in the history of New York City. After being tracked down to a 5th-floor Manhattan apartment, Crowley was surrounded by 300 police officers armed with rifles, machine guns, and tear gas.
Damn,
And over the
them
course
wars
of the
out
2-hour
there.
siege, over 15,000 spectators gathered to watch the police fire over 700 rounds.
Come on, man. I thought we could do better than that now with advanced shit.
Billy, this was in the 1930s. Whatever you're talking about was probably less effective than how it is today.
And sentenced to death by electrocution. For his final meal, Crowley requested steak with onions, French fries, ice cream, melted ice cream, and apple pie. In my opinion, even though this is one of the better meals I've had from this time period, I still would have liked a little bit more quantity. I'm placing this meal in B tier.
Okay.
Today, we're taking a look at the selection of Carla Faye Tucker. On
Carla
the early
Faye
morning
Tucker.
of June 13th, 1983, Tucker and her boyfriend Danny Garrett broke into the apartment of their friends Jerry and Deborah with the intention of stealing
what the
their
fuck,
motorcycle.
man?
However, upon entering,
Gios.
More sins?
altercation broke out and Garrett struck Jerry
That's
in the
Ram
back
Ranch
of the head with
Gios.
a
No, it's just regular ranch.
ball-peen hammer. But
Oh,
when
shit.
this caused him to start gurgling, Tucker struck
Stop
him
showing your
with a
feet,
pickaxe
man.
to
Is this a
silence.
fetish you got?
Then,
This claim is kind of ironic, because you mentioned this twice in the first video and 3 times in this video. Seems like you're the one who's focused on the feet.
And as the duo prepared to leave the scene, Tucker spotted Deborah hiding in the bed and struck her multiple times with the pickaxe as well. For these 2 murders, Tucker was sentenced to death by
What do you think's gonna happen when they do
For
this
her
shit?
final meal, Tucker requested a garden salad with ranch dressing, a peach, and a banana. In my opinion, as a normal meal, this spread is already a little weak. But as a final meal ever, this lineup is just rubbish. I'm placing this meal in D tier.
Okay, so there you go, everyone. If y'all want to watch the original video, the link is in the description. Go check it out and shit. And I'm getting the fuck out here, so yeah. My name is Billy Bob Tanley, and I approve this message.
Flipping off the camera. This video isn't about eating on camera like Nikocado. This is about cooking and ranking the last meals of criminals. So yeah, that's about it for this video, and I'll see you on the next one.